Ladies and gentlemen, greetings. This is Akanksha Foundation and I am Devashish. Today we have Dr. Arindam Biswas with us, who is MD in Medicine and presently an internal medicine specialist and working on the Rabindranath Tagore International Institute of Cardiac Sciences and a renowned physician throughout the India, one of the best available physician in India. So So to start with, I like to ask some very simple questions regarding COVID-19 pandemic and and its effects on the mass. So, doctor, how does COVID-19 spread, and also can it enter through our naked eye?
Well, this is a very good question. But before I start, I must thank Akanka Foundation for
Thank you, sir.
giving me an opportunity to speak about COVID 19, which is a pandemic and has created waves and created a panic all over the world. And with regard to your question, yes, let me be very clear. Yes, it can spread through eyes whenever there is an open cavity, for example, the nose, the mouth. It spreads by droplet infection. Now, what exactly is droplet? When we cough or when we sneeze, we see particles which we cannot see in naked eye. On a microscope, definitely we can understand and appreciate the particles that comes out, and that reaches other person's body through nose and through mouth. Even eyes can be affected. So this is the way a virus spreads or a bacteria can spread, and this is how a droplet infection can spread. This is exactly we are encountering in COVID-19 cases.
Thank you for such prudent explanation, doctor. So, going on, the next question is how long does it stay active on air, and also how much distance it can travel by air while being active?
Well, this is a question that cannot be answered very simply because COVID 19 has been isolated 6 months back. So, we are doing research and extensive research is being undertaken all over the world to find out various information and to spread. Every information cannot be correct, and at the same time, all the information cannot be thrown out or dismissed in a jiffy. But the fact is that it can stay in air, it can be airborne, but in a closed space. Well, we have heard over 200 scientists all over the world have written to World Health Organization about the disease being airborne. But they have already highlighted on one particular point that it can spread into closed doors. If it had been an airborne, the number would have gone up. In India, we are having around 8 lakh, more than 8 lakh cases. It would have been more than 20 lakhs if it had been purely airborne. Or the number of people dying from COVID would have gone up. So, I will not dismiss the theory of being airborne. It can be airborne in a closed space, but not in an open space, because we don't have sufficient evidence to substantiate our views to prove that COVID-19 could be an airborne infection.
Thank you, doctor, for assuring us for this about the same. Okay, so what treatments are available for COVID-19? Can we expect a cure this year or within the year?
Number one, with regard to treatment, well, all over the world, several medications have been tried. But I'll be very candid that we don't have a single medication that will be 100% effective against the virus. We have medications like remdesivir, we have medications like favipiravir, we have used ribavirin at times, but not a single medication has proved that it will be 100% effective in COVID-19 cases. And your question with regard to vaccine, well, this is a conundrum. A vaccine cannot come out in a day, or vaccine cannot come out in a moment. It takes time. It takes at least 15 months time. We have to go in phases. Phase 1, phase 2 and phase 3. Then only if it is successful with no side effects, a vaccine should not have any side effect. And because if there are side effects, the normal people on whom we are applying the vaccine can develop severe symptoms or a disease that is not acceptable. So vaccine is a far cry, but I am expecting a vaccine provided the structural changes of the virus doesn't take place quickly, because at times it is being reported that we are seeing mutation in the virus. If there is mutation with relentless regularity, then obviously it is very difficult to develop a vaccine.
Thank you. So, going on to our next question, very pertinent. Is hand sanitizer effective against COVID-19? And what to check while buying a sanitizer, as there are too many options available in the market?
Well, this is a pertinent question. First of all, let me be very clear. If we use soap water or a sanitizer, soap water performs better than a sanitizer, but we have to know the function, the mechanism of action. Well, the mechanism of action is simple. A virus has a lipid layer outside. The soap water or the sanitizer will destroy the lipid portion of the virus, thereby killing it. Now, question is which one is better? Soap water is much better, because in dirty hands or the hands inundated with dirt or oily hands will always be resistant to a sanitizer. But certainly soap water can remove the oily part as well as can damage the virus. But in most of the cases, as we are going to offices, when we are traveling in buses, it is not possible practically to use a soap water. In that case, we have to use sanitizer. Let us use sanitizer regularly, properly. Not only COVID-19, any germs which are present in the hands can be easily removed using a sanitizer or a soap water.
Thank you, doctor, for clarification on soap water versus sanitizer. So, can one develop serious complications from COVID-19 if she or he smokes cigarettes or a smoker?
Well, this is a very good question and a pertinent question. Smokers have overexpression of ACE2 receptors. Now, ACE2 receptors are present in various parts of the body, especially in lungs, and this is the receptor utilized by the virus to gain entry into the cell. So an ACE receptor can be present in small intestine, it can be present in lungs. A smoker will always have an overexpression of ACE receptors. It allows the virus to gain easy entry into the cells and wreak havoc on the body.
Thank you, sir. This question has been asked by our audiences, and it is a quite common question that is it safe for me to donate blood during the coronavirus pandemic?
Well, if you are a sufferer, you have to talk to the doctor. If you have recovered, I will always encourage someone to donate plasma after 28 days and not after 4 months. You can give blood. There is no problem with blood transfusion. If you are not suffering from any disease or any chronic diseases, you must talk to your doctor before deciding to donate blood.
Okay, thank you, sir. So, what kind of diet should one have in order to prevent COVID-19 or to at least boost his immunity to some extent to fight it?
There is no drug that can boost somebody's immunity. Let me make it very clear. This is the basic point we must understand and realize. If we eat a balanced diet in the form of proper carbohydrate, proteins and fat, we are having vitamins, we are having minerals, we are having adequate amounts of the energy, and we can expend calories in the proper way. That can boost up immunity, that can develop our immune system quite strongly. But I am giving you an example. There are lots of rumor mongering that is taking place. Take vitamin C, that can help. It has a meager role. Well, vitamin C is essential for body's enzymatic actions. Vitamin C is required at 50 milligram per day or maximum 80 milligram per day. Now, when we take vitamin tablets from the counter, medicine counters, it has a strength of 500 milligram or 250 milligram. So why unnecessarily we are taking extra additional amount of vitamin C when a simple lemon can help us to provide the necessary amount of vitamin C. So if we bank on our food, proper food habits, that can help solve many problems.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your explanation. As we go, as India has gained the third position after US and Brazil in terms of COVID positive cases, what measures should an ordinary citizen take to prevent infection as well as to contain its spread?
Well, India is a country with high population density. We have to give regard to the population of 130 crore people living in a small place like India. India is home to 1/6 of world's population. So, given the background, this is not surprising that India will have more and more number of COVID cases in the days to come. It may get the second or even the first position. But we need a proper plan. We need to execute the plan in the proper way to curb the problem and combat the disease. A government cannot do everything. We citizens need to be sensitive and we have to rise to the occasion to battle the problem. Yes, this is a problem, but we have to spread the word that we have to maintain sanitization, we have to keep safe distance among ourselves, and we have to avoid to go in places where there is a possibility of overcrowding, and we have to wear a mask. Often we are not doing that. Yes, that mask should cover the nose as well as the mouth. We are often not doing it. We are going to tea stalls, we are going to markets without a proper mask. A towel cannot be a mask. You have to wear a proper mask, a tri-layer mask that can help spread the infection and can control the infection in the proper way.
Thank you, doctor. And another question regarding US is, why the United States, despite being way more advanced in terms of medical care and hygiene, is at the top of the chart?
Well, coronavirus was new, and every country like US or UK, they suffered from the developed countries like UK and US, they suffered from superiority complex. They took the matter very easily and took it for granted. And they failed. They failed to understand the severity, the severe virulence of the virus. They failed to control the system. They failed to control the spread at the outset. They allowed the virus to spread and attack human beings, and they faced a disastrous situation. The calamity would not have taken place if they had been serious or sincere, or they had taken the matter very seriously. But this was not seen. So that's the reason they suffered.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you, Dr. Vishwas, for your valuable time and addressing such questions and queries for the mass and us. And lastly, I would like to request you to say a few words to the citizens of Kolkata as well as India.
Well, Akanka Foundation is doing a great job. Their philanthropic activities have really attracted me. I wish them all the best. They are by the side of the people and they have shown a human face. I hope they will be continuing with their journey with breakneck speed and ultimately will reach out to the people whom we often ignore, whom we do not care. In future, they are going to really help people, especially the downtrodden, the destitute, and who really need a human touch and a help from a human being. So I express my satisfaction to give an interview with them. At the same time, I wish them all the best in the coming days.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time.